Hello everyone, I hope your preparations for CLAT are going on in full swing. This is the third video of quantitative techniques that will be engaging today under the aegis of CLAT Funda. I'll just give a quick recap as to what we did in this whole series of lecture. In the first video, we discussed about the syllabus of quantitative techniques for CLAT 2020. After that, we moved on to study fractions, and today we'll be engaging ourselves with bar graphs. Alright, so moving on to the theoretical aspects of bar graphs. Now, some of the theoretical aspects we have already covered in the first video itself, wherein we tried to understand as to what a bar graph is, how is it plotted, and what are the various mathematical operations that can come whenever we talk about the concept of or questions of bar graphs. All right, but still, just a quick recap as to all of that. Bar graphs are also known as column graphs, bar chart, or bar diagrams. All right, it is a rectangle spaced out with equal spaces between them and having equal width. This equality of width and space is important because that donates that every such entity has equal footing in a bar graph, which is important. All right. The length of each of the bar corresponds to the frequency of a particular observation. The higher the length of a bar graph, that denotes that the frequency of that particular observation is more. And if the length of that particular bar graph is less, that means that the frequency is lesser in comparison to the higher one. All right. One can draw bar graphs both vertically or horizontally depending on whether we take the frequency along the vertical axis or the horizontal axis respectively. So in the first lecture itself, I have already told you that there are two types of axes. One is the x-axis and the other is the y-axis. So a bar graph is plotted in this Cartesian system of x and y axis. All right. So bar graphs can be used to denote different types of entities and different types of data. It is one of the mechanism of data representation. We'll directly jump on to the problems because I think mathematics can be best understood through problems themselves. This theoretical aspect is something that we all were aware of. This was just a quick recap. We'll directly jump on to the first problem that we have seen. All right, if you can see the first problem, this is the bar graph that has been given to you. All right, in the x-axis, number of years. So 2007, 2008, the years, specific years have been plotted. And on the y-axis, the sale of cellular phones has been plotted. The question is, study the bar graph given below and answer the questions 1 to 5. It consists of data on the sales of cellular phones during the year 2007 to 2012. Just linking with the theoretical aspect first, you can see that these are rectangles plotted in a Cartesian system of x-axis and y-axis. The length varies and the length basically tells the frequency. So the highest number, for example, just by looking at the bar graph, 2007 has the highest plotted rectangle in it, 48,000. All right, so that means that it is a more frequent observation in, let's say, comparison with the year 2008, wherein it was just 40,000. So the 40,000 one is a little lesser in height in comparison with 48,000 that was plotted in 2007. All right. One more thing, it is the width. The width of all these bars are equal, as I have mentioned in the theoretical aspect of it. Let us now try to understand as to what the question says. The question asks you to determine the difference in the sale of cellular phones for the years 2007 and 2009. So what is the number of sale in 2007? It is 48,000, and in 2009 it is 30,000. What is the difference between both of them? 48,000 minus 30,000, it is 18,000. So the answer comes out to be D, 18,000 units. I think that you are perfectly all right with this solution. There is absolutely no explanation needed in such easy problems, and we'll try to solve all these bar graph problems without picking up a pen. We'll only pick up our pen whenever it's needed, or else apart from that, just by looking onto this data interpretation, we'll try to understand the various aspects of it. This is the first question. I hope that you did not have any problem in it. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. So in this given bar graph, the second question that they are asking you is that the 2 years between which the rate of change of cellular phones is minimum are. Okay. So rate of change of cellular phones is minimum R. The first option is 2007 and 2008. The second option is 2009 and 2010. The third option is both option A and B. And the fourth option is 2011 and 2012. So what I have done is yearly I have compared it. So percentage changes over the years. We'll just see from 2007 to 2008. The difference between them is 8,000. So 8,000 divided by 48,000 into 100, the percentage change comes out to be 16.66%. In 2008 and 2009, the difference comes out to be 10,000. So 10,000 divided by 40,000 into 100, that comes out to be 25%. Okay. Between 2009 and 2010, the difference between both these years comes out to be 5,000. 5,000 divided by 30,000 into 100, that comes out to be 16.66%. 2010 and 2011, the difference between both the years is 7,000 again. That 7,000 divided by 25,000 into 100, the difference comes out to be 28,000 and 28%. I'm sorry. Now 2011 and 2012, the difference that comes out is 40,000 minus 18,000, that is 22,000. 22,000 divided by 18,000 into 100, that is 122.22%. So the answer then would be the 2 years between which the rate, the question is that 2 years between which the rate of change of cellular phones is minimum. So the answer comes out to be option C, that is both option A and B. Alright, the minimum rate of change is in C, both option A and B. Let's move on to the third question. Okay, the third question asks you to determine the sum of sales of cellular phones in the year 2009 and 2011. So the sum of sale of 2009 plus 2011 is equal to that in. Okay, so in 2007 we can say it is 48,000. In 2008 it is 40,000. In 2009 it is 30,000. In 2010 it is 25,000. In 2011 it is 18,000, and in 2012 it is 40,000. What is the sale in 2009? That is 30,000. And what is the sale in 2011? That is 18,000. So 13,000 plus 18,000, that would be 48,000. So 48,000, the sale of cellular phones was 48,000 in the year 2007. So the answer comes out to be A. All right, I think you are pretty, I think it was not a tough question and you are pretty comfortable with all of it. Let's move on to the next question, question number 4. The percentage increase in sales from 2011 to 2012 was. Okay, so do you find it to be a similar question? We have already solved this. So when you see in 2011 and 2012, it was 122.22%. Okay, so the answer comes out to be C, that is 122%. Okay, there is an approximation that has happened here. The answer exact percent should be 122.22, but looking at the options, there is an approximation that has took place, and that is why the answer is 122%. Approximation is also a very important part of your syllabus, which will definitely come in your examination, and you need to be aware with it. So whenever you have to round off any figure which comes out to be more than 0.5, you round it off to the next number. But whenever there is a percentage that is less than 0.5, then you round it to the preceding number. So 122.22 would be rounded out to 122 and not 123. Okay. The last question with this set of problems is, which is the average sales figure of all the years. So what we need to do is, we need to do the summation of all the bar graphs. Okay, so 48,000 plus 40,000 plus 30,000 plus 25,000 plus 18,000 plus 40,000, and after that you are supposed to divide it by 6. Why 6? Because the number of years that has been plotted here are 6 years: 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011 and 2012. So 2,01,000 divided by 6 is 33,500. All right, 33,500. Okay, so I hope you are comfortable with this problem too. Let's move on to the second batch of problems that we have today with us. Now this is the bar graph wherein two entities are plotted together. So you can see University A and University B, the figures of University A and the figures of University B are plotted together. Okay, and they are represented by different colors. University A is represented by a color which is slightly less darker in comparison with University B. Okay. Let us study the question. Study the bar graph given below and answer questions 6 to 10, 1 to 5 for our purpose. It consists of data on number of students passed in 1000 from two universities from year 2003 to 2008. Okay. So what are they trying to show us? They are trying to show us the data on the number of students that have passed in thousands from two universities from the year 2003 to 2008. The first question, moving on to the first question. What is the sum of students passing from University B in 2003, 2005 and 2006 taken together? Okay, I think it's a very fairly easy question. What you need to do is you need to just summate these three entities. In 2003, the number of students passing from University B was 30, as you can see in the bar graph. All right, it is here, right here. Okay. In 2005, it was 10. Okay. And in 2006, it was 40. So 30 plus 10 plus 40 in thousands. Okay. So that is 80,000. So your answer comes out to be B, 80,000 amongst the four options. That is 75,000, 80,000, 88,000 and 90,000. Your answer comes out to be B, that is 80,000. Moving on to the next question. What is the ratio of students passed from University A in the year 2007 and the number of students passed from University B in the year 2004? All right. It's a very simple question yet again. Let's move on to 2007. In 2007, the number of people who have passed from the university is 50. University A is 50, as you can see, it is plotted right here. And in University B in 2004, all right, this comes out to be 35. Okay. So 50 divided by 35, your answer would then be 10:7. That is option B. Amongst the four options, 7:10, 10:7, 4:5 and 5:4. Okay, moving on to the third question. The number of students from University B in the year 2008 is approximately what percentage of total number of students passed from University A over the years? Okay, so University B, which figure do you want to take? The number of students from University B who have graduated or passed in the year 2008. That is 15 number, as you can see in your screens. Okay, 15 number divided by total number of students passed from University A over the years. So total number of students passed from University A over the years would be 20 plus 35 plus 30. So all in 2003 plus 2004 plus 2005, 6, 7, 8. The summation of that comes out to be 225. So the required percentage that we need for answering this question is 50 by 225 into 100. That comes out to be 22.22%. Again, in this problem, approximation is done, and 22.22% is approximately 22%. Okay, it's not 23, it's 22%. Let's move on to the fourth question. What is the ratio between the number of students passed in the years 2007, 2008 and 2005 from University A? All right. So as you can see in 2007, the number of students passed in 2007 is 50 from University A. In 2008, it is 30, and you can see in the bar graph also, and in 2005 it is 30 again. So 50:30:30. That comes out to be 5:3:3. So that means that the number of students passed in the year 2008 and in 2005 are equal in number. 3:3, that is 1:1. So both 30 and 30 students passed. The ratio of that remains the same, but the ratio between all the three is 5:3:3. All right. Moving on to the last question. Last question talks about what is the difference between the total number. What is the difference between the total number of students passed from both the universities together in 2007 and the total number of students passed from both the universities together in the year 2005. So total number of students passed in the year 2007 would be 50 plus 60, that comes out to be 110. You can see it in the bar graph. All right. And total number of students passed in 2005 would be 30 plus 10. That comes out to be 40. So the difference between both of them is 70,000. So amongst all the options, the correct option would be option A, 70,000, and not option B, C and D, that is 80, 85,000 and 90,000. I hope the problems of bar graph were such that you were able to solve properly. All these problems comes out with more practice. So I request you to practice more and more questions of bar graphs. In the next segment, the next segment of quantitative techniques that we will be having, we'll be studying pie charts. All right. So pie charts also becomes very important for you to study. Thank you. I think it was a very wonderful session wherein we engaged ourselves with one of the most important aspects that will definitely come in your examination. That is of bar graphs. And until next time, I hope you keep preparing well. And in case you have any problems in any of the questions that we have discussed today, or you want more questions, or you want to solve a particular type of problem, kindly contact the officials of Nirma University. They'll get back to me with your problems and I'll solve it with you over a video call, over a call, or even in text messages, howsoever is feasible to you. Thank you.